My name is Doris Michelle. I've been divorced for 3 years from my ex-husband Eugene, with whom I was once married. The time we were married had its share of difficulties, and the divorce was one-sided. I wish I could erase that painful past as if using an eraser. However, it seems that human memory is not easily erased. That's why I had hoped to never cross paths with him again. However, it seems that such wishes are unexpectedly betrayed. This is because, the other day when I went to a nearby movie theater, I happened to run into it unexpectedly. Standing next to the person was his young second wife, and the child who had been conceived after the divorce, Eugene, was holding hands with them. I wonder why we had to meet like this. To come to the same place to see something that could easily be found in any other movie theater is just beyond belief. How unlucky can I be? I found myself pondering. The urge to curse my own fate welled up within me. At the very least, I wished he wouldn't notice me. No, even if he did, I hoped he wouldn't approach me. With that intention, I pretended not to notice him, but Eugene and his companions drew near after a long time. And just like before, he looked at me with that same mocking expression. Eugene, to think I'd run into you here. What are you here to see? A romance film, perhaps? Since you're unlucky in love, maybe you'll find satisfaction in watching a movie. Poor you. As for me, my kid insisted on seeing an anime, so we came as a family. Movies are meant to be watched together, after all. It's lonely going alone, don't you think? Is that so? I, who didn't want to deal with it, gave a brief reply and tried to distance myself, but Eugene wouldn't allow it. Eugene, what's up? It's been a while, so let's chat. By the way, the next child is on the way. No infertility issues here. Take a look at this belly, it's quite impressive. I'm sure a healthy child will be born. Oh, that's good news. Congratulations. Eugene's wife carried a large, burdened belly. The first time this happened, we were still married. Suddenly, he brought a young woman along and declared he wanted a divorce because she was pregnant. I never thought he'd be the type to do something like that, but there was no second-guessing his actions. The encounter with Eugene began when we both worked at the same company. We sat next to each other during a drinking party and engaged in silly conversations fueled by alcohol. As time went on, these interactions became enjoyable, and Eugene found a place in my heart. Before long, I was convinced that he was the one connected to my red string of fate, and I made the decision to marry him. At the beginning of our marriage, he was kind, and our life together was so sweet that I couldn't believe how happy I was. Both of us loved children, and we talked about wanting to have kids soon. How many kids do you want? Eugene, maybe 9? Even though it was unlikely to have that many, I laughed and dreamed of a joyful life surrounded by lots of children. However, even after 1 year and 2 years passed, we couldn't conceive a child. In the 3rd year, we decided to undergo fertility treatments, but there were no signs of success. When we went to the hospital, I noticed that most couples were attending the treatments together, but I was always alone. Upon examination, it was revealed that there were no abnormalities on my part. This led me to believe that the issue might lie with Eugene. I asked him to undergo testing. However, Eugene's reaction was quite severe. Eugene, why do I have to undergo a medical examination? Is there something wrong with me? It's obvious that the issue lies with the woman. If you have a body capable of having children, there's no reason it shouldn't work. When we first started infertility treatment, Eugene was kind and supportive, saying we would face it together. However, as years passed without any success in the treatment, Eugene became increasingly cold, eventually even refusing to engage in the act of trying to conceive. Eugene insists that it's my fault. Despite that, it's impossible for us to have a child like this. I can't count how many times I've swallowed those words. Still, I desperately wanted a child. I thought that if we could just have a child, maybe Eugene would return to his former self. However, Eugene's cold heart became even colder and harder over time. Eugene, your body is a wreck. There's no other way to describe it than being defective if you can't have a child. Marrying a woman like you was a mistake. I'm truly unlucky. He started mocking me, and eventually, our conversations ceased altogether. I had a sense that the end was approaching. Somehow, I knew I no longer existed in his world. Still, I wanted to have a child somehow. So, as a last gamble, I told Eugene. Our doctor suggested that both of us should undergo tests. Can you come with me next time? This is the last. I thought. If this doesn't help, I'll give up. However, what came back was the same as always. Eugene said, even though you're defective, why'd I have to inspect you? Don't mess around. And he brought along his pregnant mistress. Eugene said, she's pregnant, so I'm breaking up with you. Sign the divorce papers. I thought I had been working hard, but why did he push me out of his heart and let this woman take my place? When I had that thought, I understood that it was already over. Fine, I get it. I'll get a divorce, but in return, I want you to undergo infertility testing just once. Eugene, why? If she's pregnant, that means there's no issue with me. There's no need for that. If you undergo the test, I won't demand alimony. Eugene, alimony? What alimony are you talking about? Well, you cheated, so I can claim alimony. He muttered, in surprise. It seemed he hadn't expected me to bring up such a thing. However, even though he dismissed it as meaningless, he went through with the examination rather than risk paying alimony. Despite such a painful parting, I somehow managed to recover. Eugene said, back when I was with you, I couldn't have children at all. No matter how hard I tried, it just wasn't possible. I'm unbelievable. I wonder where he thinks the effort came from. I believe it was me who put in the effort. Eugene, towards the end, I stopped feeling any charm from you, lost all motivation. Even though I didn't feel like doing it, I kept quiet because I think it would be pitiful if I spoke my true feelings. I'm a gentleman, you know. Wasn't it because you were cheating that I lost interest in you? Eugene, being cheated on means there was no charm in you. On the other hand, she remains attractive no matter how much time passes. Indeed, that's good to hear. Eugene, I've really come to think about it. It was good that I parted ways with you. Glancing at the woman, she wore an expression that seemed completely disinterested, as if her eyes were lifeless. I wonder what Eugene thinks about her face like this. Eugene, you're defective. I can't believe I used to associate with such a defective product. A woman who can't even be called a woman, who can't even have children. I wanted children, you know. No matter how hard I tried, it's impossible for me. Something that shouldn't exist in me. Oh, really? Eugene, that's right. As evidence, look, I've even got a second one on the way. I'm always spot on, 100 out of 100. You were telling me to get checked, but in the end, there was no issue, right? If there was a problem with me, you would have reached out blaming yourself, saying it was your fault. The fact that you didn't means there's no issue with me. You just realized it was your own problem. Pathetic, isn't it? Eugene said loudly, laughing. Thanks to that, people around me look at me with pity in their eyes. Eugene, you probably wouldn't understand, but having a child is truly something special. They're adorable. I never thought they could be this cute. I wanted one, kept wishing for it, but now that I'm a parent, I truly understand. Children are indeed angels. I'm happy for you. Eugene, you probably want it too, but with that body of yours, it's impossible, right? How about getting a child from somewhere? It doesn't have to be a kid who shares your blood, right? Maybe affection will bloom as you raise them. Aren't you going to the movies? Eugene, we've already finished watching. Are you starting now? Yeah, that's right. So, I'm going. Eugene, you're satisfied with pseudo-romance at best, huh? You probably can't get married anyway. As I tried to distance myself from Eugene and started walking, I couldn't help but get irritated. I abruptly stopped in my tracks and whispered into Eugene's ear. You really don't know anything, do you? Eugene, what are you talking about? I grinned with a smirk. Eugene, what do you mean? At that time, You got an infertility test when we parted, right? Eugene. Yeah, that's right. And you didn't say anything about it. Not saying anything was because I felt sorry for you. The truth is, the issue of not having offspring lies with you. Eugene. Don't lie. I have 2 children. I never lie. How about trying a DNA test to prove it? That way, the truth will come out. There's also the possibility of substitution, you know. Eugene. It's a lie. Eugene's expression changed instantly, turning pale. His eyes widened so much that it seemed like his eyeballs might fall out, and his lips trembled slightly. He probably had an inkling, but he was desperately denying it. Feel sorry. When I distanced myself from Eugene, he smirked and said, well then, farewell, unfortunate Eugene. With that, I parted from him. I believed that just this would surely make Eugene feel down, and I thought that if I could retaliate with just this much, it would be sufficient. If I could avoid ever meeting him again, I thought it wouldn't matter what happened to Eugene. Even if the child born wasn't Eugene's, and even if he believed that child to be his own, I believed it was something I didn't need to intervene in. So, I thought it was over with this. However, after some time passed, I received a message from Eugene. His voice sounded exhausted, and it seemed like he was walking through the depths of misery. Oh, long time no see. Are you getting along well with your wife? Eugene. I got divorced from my wife. Oh, is that so? Then what's the matter? Eugene. I just wanted to inform you. I don't need such updates. You and I are not related, you know. Eugene. No, I just wanted to tell you the truth. Why? You and I are strangers. Eugene. I had a DNA test done since then. Does that mean you're ignoring this conversation? Well, turns out, the child isn't mine. Oh, I already knew that. Too bad though. Eugene. Isn't it terrible to say it's not my child? But legally, it's your child, so isn't that fine? Eugene. Regardless of what the law says, it's not my child. Even if you tell me that, there's nothing I can do about it, right? Eugene. I asked him. Confronted him with the results of the paternity test. Oh, really? Eugene. In that situation, she neither cried nor apologized. She casually said that the child wasn't mine. I see. Eugene. When I asked what he meant by that, he said he had someone else he was dating at the time. When she got pregnant, he claimed he ran away. Since I was seeing him at the same time, he told me the child was mine because he thought I would be happy about it. So, he decided to raise the child with me, saying it's better to have 2 parents than one. Amazing, isn't it? Eugene. But when I mentioned that I thought the child in her belly was mine, I was laughed at, told there's no way. Despite engaging in marital relations almost every night, it just doesn't happen with me. However, she quickly became pregnant with the man she started seeing about 6 months ago. So, there's no doubt that the child in her belly belongs to him. I see. That's why you had such a dead look in your eyes. Well, you're infertile, so I suppose that's how it is. But still, it's quite something. To be so accepting of it, there's nothing more to say, is there? Eugene. No, I said it. I asked why she did such a thing. And what did she say? Eugene. She said our life together wasn't enjoyable for her. Oh? Eugene. Moreover, I confronted them about cheating, even though they're already married. What were they thinking? Considering you were the one cheating, you should understand without me asking, right? Eugene. No, I had a legitimate reason, as I wanted to have children. But they were cheating despite having children. That's unacceptable, isn't it? Either way, it's unforgivable. So, how did your life with them become so dull that they said it wasn't worth it? I imagine it must be hard to say anything after being told that. Eugene. I couldn't say it. The only words I could say were, let's get divorced. Oh, so you broke up because of that, even though you have a child? Eugene. Yeah, well, that kid isn't really mine, you know. And the one in her belly isn't mine either. There's no choice but to break up. If you do that, she'll end up raising 2 kids on her own, you know. Eugene. Well, it's not like that. When I told her I wanted a divorce, instead of apologizing, she just said it was perfect timing. What do you mean? Eugene. The guy she's currently dating apparently told her clearly that he's willing to be the dad for both of her kids. Oh, that's wonderful. While one person is considering abandoning a child just because they didn't biologically father them, the other is willing to take care of both as his own. That's quite admirable and manly. He must be a kind person. It's good for you, isn't it, Eugene's wife? Looks like you're about to find happiness. Eugene. I'm the one who's unhappy. Well, you reap what you sow. Eugene. I think he might be the one you mentioned, doing something like sperm donation behind my back. Eugene. It's not quite like that. When I mentioned divorce, I thought she'd apologize, but she just said it was perfect. What do you mean? Eugene. The guy she's currently dating clearly told her he'll be the father to both of her children. Wow, that's wonderful. While one person is considering abandoning the child who isn't biologically theirs, the other is willing to take care of both kids, one of whom is their own. That's truly admirable and kind of him. You're lucky, Mr. Eugene. It seems like you'll find happiness. Eugene. I'm unhappy. Well, you reap what you sow. Eugene. Isn't it possible that he was involved in paternity fraud, just like you suggested? Well, that's how it goes, right? But you were happy until now, weren't you? Eugene. That's true, but... So, Eugene, you intended to abandon her, but you ended up being abandoned, right? Eugene. I was abandoned? That's the way it is. But it can't be helped. After all, you created another woman and left me. What goes around comes around, doesn't it? Eugene. Yeah? Eugene seemed hesitant to say something, but I hung up the phone. A few days later, Eugene, who clearly had something on his mind, showed up at my house unexpectedly. To my surprise, he was holding a bouquet of roses. What are you doing here? Eugene thrust the bouquet at me. Eugene, will you go out with me? What? Eugene, you're not remarried, are you? There's no way you'd remarry. So I'll marry you. Will you be with me? How rude. I'm already married. Eugene. Huh? Huh? No way. I'm married. Eugene. That's a lie. There's no way you can get married. You don't need to put on such airs. What do you mean? Eugene. Because you're infertile, aren't you? How can a woman who can't have children get married? Such a biased view. Why would someone like me, who can't have children, be in a relationship with marriage as the premise? Eugene. Well, you've lived together before, and starting from scratch with a new romance is a hassle. What kind of person are you? Eugene. Besides, I trust you. But I can't trust you. Eugene. I'll put up with you even though you're infertile. So you admit you're infertile. Eugene. I'm not infertile. I don't understand. Whatever. Wait a moment. With that, I went inside and retrieved the infertility test results Eugene had taken 3 years ago from a drawer. I'm glad I kept these. Here, this is the test result from back then. Take a good look, Eugene. This. No, can I really believe the results from 3 years ago? Why? Eugene. 3 years ago means the testing system might not be reliable. What changes in 3 years? Eugene. I'm not infertile. Then why didn't your girlfriend get pregnant with your child? Eugene. It was just a coincidence. Sometimes things happen. Too many coincidences. Forget it. Go home. Eugene. You don't have children either, do you? I can accept someone like you. But at that moment, my child came from the back. Maya. Mom, I'm hungry. Yeah, wait a moment. I'll give you a snack when the man leaves. Maya. Okay. Eugene. Who's that child? My child. Eugene. Why? When we met at the movie theater the other day, there was no child. She wasn't there at that moment. She was in a different part of the theater. Eugene. Huh? So you left the child alone? Of course not. My husband was taking care of her. Eugene. Husband? Child? You never mentioned any of this. There was no need to say anything. People assumed I wasn't married and didn't have children without asking. Eugene. So that's how it was. Then whose child is she? She's my child. Eugene. That's strange. She looks about 3 years old. Yes. Eugene. Does that mean she was in your belly when we broke up? No, she was conceived after we broke up. Eugene. Can I really believe that? Why are you doubting me? Too bad. She was conceived right after we broke up. Eugene. Does that mean she was in your belly when we broke up? Why would you think that? It's completely different. She's my husband's child now. When I heard we had broken up, he confessed to me. At first, I declined, but I knew him well, and his sincere attitude and kindness made me think he might be the right person. So we started dating with marriage in mind. Eugene. So you got married and had his child while I was still pregnant with your child? Don't compare the two. This child is definitely my husband's. If you say anything weird, I'll sue you for defamation. Eugene. Is that even possible? We couldn't do it with just that. Besides, I couldn't get you pregnant. How could you get pregnant so soon after we broke up? It happens, and there's nothing I can do about it. Besides, you're infertile, but my husband is healthy, so it's only natural. Eugene. No, it's a lie. That child is mine. How can my child be here? And she's so cute. I'm telling you, she's not. Eugene. Well, you don't have to lie. Even if you're married, it's probably a lie. You raised my child, right? No, this child is both mine and my husband's. You have no connection to this. Enough already. It's scaring the child. Eugene. Look, I'll accept everything. Let's live together with the child. Unbelievable. What's wrong with you? Eugene. There's no way you're married. You loved me, after all. You're quite confident, but love has long vanished. When you treated me terribly, it gradually faded away. And when you brought your lover, it disappeared completely. Eugene. True, I might have been terrible. But it was because I wanted a child. Now that we know there's a child, forgive everything. I'll forgive you too. What do you want me to forgive? There's nothing to forgive. Just take these flowers and leave. Eugene. No, let's go together. We can even live here. From today, I'll be the child's dad. At that moment, the husband returns and stands behind Eugene. Husband. Who's the dad? The child's father is me. Eugene. Huh? Welcome back. You're early. Daughter, Maya. Welcome home, Daddy. Husband. I'm back, Maya. Eugene. Who are you? Husband. I'm Michelle's husband. Eugene. Huh? I told you before, right? We met right after the divorce and got remarried. Eugene. Were you cheating? Why would you think that? Husband. By the way, who is this person? That's Eugene. I am Michelle's husband and the father of that child. What do you mean? This person is my ex-husband. Husband. Ah, he cheated and left with a lover? Yes. So, he divorced his wife this time. Husband. Eh? Why? Her affair was exposed, and it turns out both of their children are the lovers. And now he says he wants to date me. Husband. So, the bouquet of roses? Yes. But no matter how much we are married, even if I say Maya is my husband's child, he insists it must be his child because it's impossible for a child to be born right after a divorce. Husband. You are infertile, right? It's in the test results you have. Eugene. Eh? Oh, yeah. Husband. And it clearly states that you are infertile. So, how can you have a child? Eugene. There's no way that's possible. Tests are not always accurate. Maybe they made a mistake. No, maybe you're the one who's infertile. Husband, what are you talking about? My husband, unlike you, voluntarily took an infertility test. Because I was hurt by your hurtful words. Thanks to that, both my husband and I found out that we are not infertile and became parents. Don't say absurd things, please. Eugene, you're probably being deceived. Don't involve my husband just because you deceive people. Eugene, you'll be happier with me. You were only unhappy because of being with you. There's absolutely no chance of starting over with someone who failed. So go back. Eugene, then what should I do? Find another woman. Someone other than me. After that, Eugene contacted me many times. At first, it was questioning if the child was his, but gradually, his claims became stronger, saying, "Return my child." Eugene, why are you trying to take away my child? If you want a child so much, just live with me, and it'll be fine. Frustrated by his persistence, I suggested a DNA test for Maya and Eugene. However, Eugene vehemently opposed it again. Eugene, there's no need for such a thing. It's an undeniable fact that the child is mine. Look, she looks just like me. Where do you see the resemblance? She doesn't resemble you at all. Eugene, your eyes are clouded. The fact that Maya is my husband's child has been confirmed from the moment she was born. Eugene, why did you do such a thing? Did you think she might not be my child? Is that why you did it? It's not like that. I wanted solid proof as a parent in case something like this happened. And the test confirmed 999.9% that she is my husband's child. Eugene, I can't believe that. What do I need to do for you to believe? Eugene, listen, think rationally. It's impossible to have a child right after a divorce. If she got pregnant right after the divorce, it must be definitely my child. Even if it's soon, it's not immediately. It happened after a proper marriage. Eugene, you can say anything. Oh, no matter what I say, it's useless. It's enough. If anything I say is useless, I'll stop having any connection with you. Don't contact me again. Eugene, no, return my child. After that, I blocked Eugene's calls, and if he came to the house, I would call the police. I thought he would give up if I went this far. However, Eugene took an outrageous action. Because my husband and I both work, Maya attends daycare. Eugene came to pick up the child pretending to be the father. The daycare informed me that an unfamiliar person had come to pick up the child, and I asked them not to hand her over. When I went to pick her up, it was indeed Eugene. I encountered him making a scene, demanding to quickly hand over the child. What are you doing? Eugene, I came to pick up my child. I've told you she's not your child. Eugene, no matter what you say, Maya is my child. If you don't stop, I'll call the police. Eugene, if you want to say it, go ahead. I'm just stating the truth. Hey, Eugene, you're acting strange. You know Maya is not your child. If you want a child so much, why don't you adopt? Get married to someone. Become a parent to a child without parents. Didn't you say that to me too? Eugene, I want a child who inherits my genes. Other children are not mine. Maya is not your child either. Please stop it. Don't cause trouble for the daycare and the teachers. Maya is the one who suffers from this. Eugene, I'm not mistaken. I'm right. There's no way the child you gave birth to is not my child. Why would that be? Eugene, because she's my child. No matter how I talked to him, he insisted that she was his child and didn't back down. I explained the situation to the daycare teacher, but this was no ordinary matter. After discussing it with my husband, we decided to report it to the police. Thanks to that, a restraining order was issued. I was worried for a while that he might still appear, but it seems Eugene gave up. I could finally return to my normal life. However, on Eugene's side, things only got worse. It seems he can't get Maya out of his head, and he became unable to focus on his work. As a result, he made many mistakes and was eventually relegated to a less important position. Even though he was sent to a distant location, Eugene's feelings didn't fade. But after the 6 months of the restraining order passed, Eugene reappeared. He somehow managed to find Maya and kidnapped her, taking her to various places. Shocked by the absence of my child, I contacted the police, and it turned out Eugene was the culprit. Now, he is in prison, crying alone. I, on the other hand, found out that I was pregnant with my second child. Of course, my husband's child. I am looking forward to the birth and living a happy life. How did you find this story? Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Well then, let's meet in the next video.